When we started going to Ashland Avenue, we had 3 girls, and I had been wanting to have more children. But Pastor David began to preach about adoption. And I had never heard about the theological idea of adoption. I just knew about, adoption of children. And when he began to teach about adoption, that we have been adopted as believers, that we have been adopted into God's family, and what that means and what that looks like. And he put the numbers into the bulletin about how many orphans were out there. And there was a statement on the front of the bulletin that said something like, "Will you rescue one of these orphans?" And just that word rescue really stuck with me. I just had never thought about it. I had never considered it until the point of the sermon series began. I knew I wanted to have more children, but I had never considered adoption. One day during the service, and they're showing a video of the orphans and things, and Morgan, who was probably, 8 or 9 at the time, looks up at me and says, "Why wouldn't we do that?" And just the way she said it was so strange. It wasn't like, can we do that or should we do that? It was like, why wouldn't we? And she said, "Mom, we have a house and we have food and we have love, why wouldn't we do that?" And that just played, over and over again in my mind. And when we left the service that day, Rusty looked at me and said, "I think maybe that is what we're supposed to do. I think maybe we're not supposed to have more children. Maybe we're supposed to adopt." We began to send off for free information from different adoption agencies, and we began to watch the DVDs that came with them and read about the different agencies, and all very confusing, lots of things to think about. And one day Rusty came home from work and said, "Okay, enough of all of this. We're going to make a decision today and we're going to start our paperwork." I said, "Okay." So we laid all the paperwork out on the table, and he said, "We're going to use that agency and we're going to adopt from Ethiopia." We made that decision and we filled out the first piece of paperwork, and of course I'm ready to have my baby that day. But it was 15 months from the day we started the paperwork until the day that we traveled to Ethiopia, spent a week there, and had Evan in our arms. And during that 15 months, God used every day to prepare us and to teach us and to draw us closer to Him, because it was a hard wait. And Evan may be the most obvious example of the transformation that's happened in our lives since we came to know Christ, because that certainly is something that I don't think we ever would have considered or imagined or walked into apart from the leading of God. My name is Cristie Cerniglia, and Jesus changes everything.